Okay, an example of carb cycling for myself, what I would do, it's a feeling out process, one, right? So everybody has a different absorption rate of time and you'll figure it as you go. So what I usually do carb cycling for myself, I can handle a lot of carbs, okay? And I could go a good amount of days without carbs. So the longer I go without carbs, the more my body will soak up. And the more you deplete and cut the carbs out, and you can manipulate the burnout by doing more cardio to a certain extent, like don't do 3 hours a day, but if you did a hard 45 to 1 hour session of zone 2 cardio and you burn out the glycogen in your body, usually around most people day 3 to 4, you're pretty empty of the glycogen. And then when you do a carb load, for myself, what I like to do is a high glycemic carb, something like, for myself, plain pasta or potatoes, which is in between. Sometimes oatmeal, but that's low glycemic, I wouldn't do that, but something that really spikes my insulin to drive the glycogen into my cells. So if I did do something like oatmeal, I'll throw a handful, about a third of a cup of raisins in there, which is a lot. But all that sugar is gonna spike a lot of insulin to drive all that glycogen into my muscle cells. So everybody does have a different set point or a time when the utilization of absorption of carbs goes in. So some people might only need 2-day depletion because their metabolic function is so fast. Some people might need much longer due to their little bit carbohydrate sensitive and need more of a burnout. But then there will come a point in time, even with the slow metabolism and the people who are very carb sensitive, who can't handle a lot of carbs, they get fat from carbs, there'll be a certain amount of days, anywhere between 5, 7, or even 10, and then day 10, and they do that hard 2 to 3 day carb load, they're really pulling the glycogen. Okay, step one in the weight loss process. Whenever I start somebody, we always look at the food. And a lot of times the food it's always a negative regimen they're in. To be on track, what is you have to change your behavior of what you're eating, all right? But also this, with the food with people, I think why America is so fat is because they have the lack of knowledge on food and what's good to eat. People have the misconception to be lean and in shape that you have to starve yourself and suffer, but that's not the case anymore at all. Food actually can taste pretty effing good and be good for you. But my he's overweight and he eats really bad, and he has the misconception that you have to eat grilled chicken and egg whites. That's how I'm gonna lose weight. I know how to eat. I know what I'm gonna do to lose weight. Grilled chicken, egg whites, and water. You're not gonna stick to it. You're not gonna stick to it. You're gonna do it for about 2 to 3 days, and then you're gonna revert back to your old habits of what you're eating: Snickers bars, ice cream, and egg sandwiches, and that's it doesn't have to be that way. So I think what it is with America, why the obesity is so high, it's the lack of education on to know what to eat that's good for your body. Okay, PCT, post-cycle therapy, and how it works. When you introduce exogenous outside source testosterone in your body shuts off luteinizing hormone. Luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone are two signals secreted from the pituitary to slow down your body to tell your Leydig cells in your testicles to initiate testosterone production. So in layman's terms, what happens is when you shoot testosterone in your body goes, I have an abundance. I don't have to make it anymore. So therefore, the luteinizing hormone and FSH shut off. So what PCT is? The basic old school classic PCT is HCG and clomiphene citrate. What HCG is artificial luteinizing hormone. It's an artificial signal to initiate a natural response, all right? Now, clomiphene citrate is an oral medication. What that does, that secretes luteinizing hormone from the pituitary. It's a natural response from the pituitary. Why HCG is initiated up front is because there's no lag time. Boom, right as soon as you initiate that into your body, LH is initiated, Leydig cells get the signal, start making testosterone. So by the time the clomiphene citrate starts to kick in, it's maybe a week or 2 or a couple of weeks or whatever, there's no lag time, where then the clomiphene citrate starts to really work and elevate your testosterone levels. Therefore, you drop out the HCG, continue with the clomiphene citrate, and then end your PCT, and your testosterone level should be leveled out. So a classic post-cycle therapy, there is an oral tablet, either tamoxifen citrate and clomiphene citrate, and an injection of HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin, all right? Artificial luteinizing hormone, clomiphene citrate's a medication, oral tablet that initiates luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone from the pituitary. And what happens is though HCG can be estrogenic and elevate your estrogen levels, so you control your estrogen levels with anti-estrogen like tamoxifen citrate. Testosterone being the number one for increasing your sex drive. Testosterone is testosterone. It's a naturally occurring hormone in the male body, naturally occurring hormone in the body. That's the number one to elevate your sex drive. There are other hormones and chemical compounds that elevate your sex drive as well. Misterolone, AKA Proviron. That's actually designed a medication for libido. What it also does, it binds to sex hormone binding globulins and elevates your free testosterone as well. So for instance, if you are administering 200 to 400 milligrams of exogenous testosterone into your body with the administration of a certain amount of milligram of Mysterol and Proviron, you can enhance the amount of free-flowing testosterone of the 200 to 400 milligrams by unbinding, and the Proviron will bind to the sex hormone binding globulin, allow more testosterone to bind to your receptors without increasing the dosage of exogenous testosterone. To be shredded doesn't mean you have to have a lot of money. If you're tight on money, all right, and you think you have to need an abundance of money to buy all these groceries, to get cut's pretty simple. For those who are in high school or even college, you have to watch your carbohydrate intake. It is the number one way to lose fat. Even if you have endless amounts of money or you have no money, all right? Insulin production is insulin production. Carbohydrates are carbohydrates. When you, bottom line, to keep it super simple, minimize the carbs, implement them when you need them, keep your insulin levels down. That's the best way to get shredded. Cost-effective proteins, all right? If you don't have a lot of money in the bank, or even if you did have a lot of money in the bank, all right, we're gonna go something towards a keto direction, all right? Ground beef is very cheap, all right? Has the right amounts of fats that could supply your energy source and has the right amount of proteins to sustain muscle and build muscle. Drop out the carbohydrates, allow your body to go into ketosis. The ground beef's gonna have the fat that you need as fuel, all right? And the protein to support muscle tissue. Ground beef is very cheap per pound. Eggs are very cheap, whole eggs. Chicken, sometimes maybe some peanut butter, you know, or maybe almond butter if you could afford it. There are cheaper ones out there. But the cheap way to get shredded for a temporary fix, if you do a healthy ketosis, is the best way to get shredded.